Mahlengwa says the MDTP has the shared strategy of all GNU partners and not just the ANC, which is the largest party in the coalition.
Our 13-point plan manifesto as the IFP is well captured in the medium-term development plan and therefore will find expression across the spectrum of government. Obviously, there are going to be areas of disagreement, there's going to be areas of compromise, and this is where the president needs to provide the strategic direction that the center holds.
Now, Lorado, this is important because the parties have emphasized they are in the GNU to govern with the ANC and not just to add numbers. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, reporting live from the Cape Town City Hall.
On the weather front, a cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated showers and thunder showers. Joburg dropping to an overnight low of 17 degrees, peaking at 25. Tshwane 19 and 27, Vereeniging 18 and 26. Lerato Hufela, Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Seven. 947 loves SA music. It's the beat of our nation. It makes us move, groove,
and yeah, boy, man. Now 947 is taking you closer to the music and artists you know and love.
The 947 Gig Guide, where you'll find weekly updates of your South African artists and bands,
music festivals, and great performance experiences.
To find the 947 Gig Guide or submit your information,
go to primemediaplus.com or email gig-guide@947.co.za
and keep listening to 947 to hear where your best of South African artists are performing.
947, supporting SA music
in your city.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High-dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
An important conversation that we're having here with the SAFA Johannesburg president, Phil Mokhodi. How do we rescue this thing called SAFA?
I'm surprised that, Robert, the minister says no, he can't interfere, whatever. Then Zimbabwe now, they've qualified for AFCON. They went out, whatever, the whole executive resigned.
Danny or done, it is not in my hands. I don't have that power. Same people that want me to just come in that office and grab Danny and then throw him out are the same people that's going to blame me when we get banned.
In South Africa, there's this thing of, basically, even myself, maybe that's why everybody that is in football currently now was supposed to resign in that SAFA and go out.
But they don't and they won't because...
That's what I'm saying. But where's the come? When Sticks Marawa, the Picard Commission comes, Robert, what did he do? He didn't fight it because he understands.
Sure, Robbie. Lalela ndoda phethe nje game. I feel very transparent. Ungamconfronta very crystal clear ngama answers and very loud. Njengemoto yakhe. Hayi, I feel kuncanyola jor o foster njengomzekezeke.
So you said that you were going to cut aid from South Africa. Will you plan to cut aid across other African nations, and why South Africa?
No, it's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa.
South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Almost feels like a warm-up to the State of the Nation address happening in about an hour's time. But you know what? The biggest State of the Nation warm-up is happening right here on Marawa Sports Worldwide. Probably brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
All right, it's an exciting mixed bag that we're going to be chatting about today from Padel. I don't know if you're one of those who's taken up to the popularity of the sport around the country. I'm looking forward to having a conversation about that and a whole lot more. Where do we rank in South Africa? Because yes, we do feature in world Padel competitions, believe it or not. But also Desiree Ellis has just announced her squad. An exciting one indeed. We'll chat to her live in a second. But also let's throw forward to the weekend. The final words have been exchanged as South Africa's UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis prepares now to defend his belt against America's Sean Strickland in Sydney, Australia on Sunday morning. Now, if he is successful, it will be du Plessis' second title defense, having beaten Strickland for the belt in January 2024 before defending the middleweight crown in August against Israel Adesanya. Also in Australia now, our man who's done such an exceptional job, he's the man on the ground in Sydney, CS du Plessis, Supersport Combat Sports reporter, with the latest. Yes.
Good evening, Rob. The countdown to UFC 312 continues. We're just days away now from the event here in Sydney. It's sold out, of course. And today's press conference, the final one before the showdown on Sunday morning, well, it was not as heated as many people anticipated. The fans got all riled up by some of the things that Sean Strickland was saying, and he's done that all week and dominating the microphone, trying to steal the narrative away from Dricus du Plessis. So in terms of the verbal sparring, I think Sean Strickland has got the upper hand. Dricus was very calm. He didn't react too much to Strickland, although he did say he was going to knock him out. So that will be what Dricus is predicting for Sunday. Strickland said he's prepared to go to war for 25 minutes. He denied having a staph infection, which kind of dominated social media for a large part of the press conference. But Strickland was offensive. He was brash. He made Dana White uncomfortable, who confirmed that Khamzat Chimaev was next in line to fight the winner of this one between Dricus and Sean. But Dricus was super calm. The face-off wasn't even that intense, but the two men have mutual respect for each other. They also know that one mistake will hand victory to the other. So there's lots on the line here. And Dricus, who's of course part of that four horsemen, is looking to cement his legacy as one of the greatest middleweights. And he's really up for this one. It looks like he's on weight. The weigh-ins will happen, of course, tomorrow. And both fighters are expected to make weight comfortably, and that we won't have any hiccups before the much-anticipated showdown. Some of the fans, though, interestingly enough, believe Sean Strickland will win this one. I'm not so convinced. I think Dricus is the favorite for a reason, but this is the fight game. This is combat sports. This is MMA. Anything can happen, and it's anyone's guess. It's up to the fight gods, as they say on Sunday. But we're just days away now. The weigh-ins are next, and then it's go time here in Sydney. Thanks for having me on, Rob. We'll keep you up to date with the rest of the week as we build up to one of the biggest fights of the year.
Yeah. CS du Plessis, thank you so much indeed. The fight gods will definitely be with Dricus du Plessis, I can tell you that much. Strickland, if he's winning the verbal contest right now, let him win that. Let's see how far that takes him. But we'll be all eyes. Sunday morning, South Africa, hey, make a date with that. Also looking forward to our conversation in studio with Zahid Garda. He is here. He is my guest. He's the chief editor of the Padel News Network. If you've been following the sport, maybe, just maybe, you might also be a major participant within it, and you just found it to be exciting. You can drop us a WhatsApp voice note. Any question or comment, please feel free to do that. We turn our attention slightly now to the dynamic world of women's football, as well as an exciting update from our very own Banyana Banyana. Now, this month, they are set to face Lesotho in not one but two thrilling international friendly matches. Now, those particular encounters promise to be a test of skill, a lot of strategy, and sheer determination. Now, under Coach Desiree Ellis's astute leadership, our team is also poised now to showcase their exceptional talent and also unwavering dedication on the field. Coach Desiree joins me now to give me a bit of insight, though, on the team that she announced this afternoon. Dr. Ellis, good evening.
Robert, and good evening to the listeners as well. So getting used to that doctor bit.
I had to mention Doc.
You caught me off guard there.
You must get used to this. You're a doctor for a reason. You keep winning, we keep giving you more doctorates.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it though.
I know. We can't get more used to you winning, more used to the team growing. We can't get more used to the youngsters that are starting to creep in and make their names seen and heard on the field of play. Would you say a youthful squad, Des? Strategic selection this time?
Look, Rob, this is the only time that we're able to have a look at a lot of players that we haven't seen over this past year. Remember, we had qualifiers, and then towards the end, we had Denmark, England, and Jamaica, and we took a few players. They didn't get a lot of game time at the COSAFA Cup to have a look at them as well. When you go into these games, they take you back to obviously get a result, play well, etc., and to put these youngsters under so much pressure. So this was the opportunity to call a lot of these young players in that have done exceptionally well last season. To have a look at them in a friendly match, and with no disrespect to Lesotho, but to have a look at them to see how they can, because we had challenges November last year and the previous year where we struggled with players with exams, injuries, visa issues. So we're looking also at making the core group bigger. 2019 we took Sibulele and Karabo at 17 and 18 to the World Cup. 2022 we took Ntabi Singh, who just turned 18 in June of that year, to the WAFCON. So who says, some of these players can't. But we're also looking to the future because there's a 2026 WAFCON qualifier final and the tournament in March, and then qualify for the World Cup. So we have to prepare. We can't wait until players say they no longer want to play in the national team, they've retired, and then we sit with having to restart.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of players coming through now from the under-17 as well as the under-20 teams, players that played also in the COSAFA Cup. I do believe, though, that this is your last opportunity, Des, to assess the potential of these players.
No, most definitely, and that's why we did it rather sooner than later. We have a FIFA date in March, April, where we're looking at having 2 international friendlies. Then we have a May, June, where we're looking at having 2 international friendlies, and we're obviously looking at selecting our best players for that. And then obviously the preparation for WAFCON. So there's no other time like now to have a look at these, up and coming players who have done well for the youth teams, they have done well in the league. Have done well at the clubs, and we even have a player from the Sasol National Championship who's done extremely well. 2 players done extremely well at the national playoffs. So we don't forget about people.
And certainly won't, I'm sure. And respect as well for all of the opponents in the upcoming tournament. I see, Des, that despite the team's recent losses, though, to Denmark, I recall England and Jamaica, you believe that they are key learnings that you can bring into this particular set of games that are coming up?
No, most definitely. Denmark, we didn't have some of our players available due to visa issues and residence permit issues, and we went with a primarily locally based squad, and with traveling and all of that. I thought we had done really well after not having played for 5 months in the first half, but the challenge was always to see if we can sustain it, and against a top quality team like Denmark, obviously not. But then we just got in a few reinforcements, and we almost beat the number 2 in the world, England, and could have, should have, if we had taken our chances. And then the end of the year with so many not being available, we had another opportunity. We gave a new cap to Shakira O'Malley, who did extremely well against Khadija Shaw. Should have probably won that second game. The first one was always going to be difficult. So a lot of learnings out of that, but I think the character that this group has shown has been unbelievable. There's no time during this whole year that we had all our players. So that, augurs well for the future.
Yeah, and I was looking at WAFCON, as you head towards that direction as well, you need to start zooming into what the likes of Ghana, Mali, Tanzania, who are in our group are going to be doing, and you'll be tracking them and their strengths as well, and maybe trying to match those as well, Des. So I suppose your set of eyes need to be here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, no, already started with getting footage of our opponents. We know that they will play matches leading up to that. up to WAFCON, but if they don't, we have some footage of certain teams. Ghana's got a new coach, so they probably might play differently. We've played Tanzania not so long ago, but that goes out of the water. It's an absolutely new game. The last time we played Mali, we had very good memories when we qualified for the 2019 World Cup, but all of that goes out the window. This is new. Teams have stepped up, as you've seen. You go to the CAF Champions League and a team like TP Mazembe wins it. So teams are stepping up, and we have to step up as well, and that's why it's so important for us to have a look at some of these players. We're always looking at mixing youth and experience, and I think that has argued well for us all the time. We have that youthful exuberance. So I think this camp is really going to be exciting. We have these young players starting afresh, wanting to raise their hands, but in the back of our minds, we definitely have the WAFCON. It's not going to be easy. It's always more difficult defending it, but I think we've been there twice before in the final, runners up and won it. If you've been there before, you almost know what to do, but it doesn't come any easier than that. You still have to do the job on the field.
You've noted, and one of the things that really came out quite strongly, Des, is that of improving clinical finishing and set pieces.
Oh, no, most definitely. We go to camp and we have 5 days and we have to do everything in 5 days. And yes, we work on set pieces, but, you need to work longer on stuff like that, longer on finishing because, it was proven at the World Cup when we played Sweden. We had 12 corners. The 13th corner they scored that we could hold out so long because we had a lot of time to work on that, and going forward, we will be working a lot on that. We're a team that creates, as you saw against England, as you saw against Jamaica, even though we didn't have an out-and-out striker against Jamaica, we still created a lot of opportunities. So if we can improve on our shots on target to our ratio of shots, we're definitely going to score more goals and have to become the team that very stingy at the back like we have been in the past. And I think, yes, you concentrate on that, but we've probably got to concentrate on everything. We're also having a goalkeeper camp leading up to that, and they're calling 8 goalkeepers, and we will select 4 of those goalkeepers to join the camp for the Lesotho camp.
All right, let me just squeeze this in before we run out of time, Des. The issue of the international-based players, is this also an opportunity for them once and for all? Because we know what character, what weight they bring into the team.
Oh, no, most definitely. I'm so excited. Linda, Tembi has scored. I watched the game last night, early hours of the morning. Jermaine scored, Hilda scored now the other day, and Hilda's still to play another game. So, I'm really excited that Og as well. Amo is starting to settle in nicely. So, Sino is getting game time. Unfortunately, she got a red card for something silly that she did. Faith has just joined a new club, and I've been in contact with her since the injury. And the big one is, of course, Amholang Motau, who's just joined a new club as well. So that really, really augurs well for us. And hopefully also we can get back our players that have been out injured, and that is like probably new signings for players that have been out for a very long time.
Rob and Coach Des, Coach, great selection of players, and I see there's a bit of continuity that you wanted to fuse in new players into the national team, and I see the inclusion of Sibongile Ndwane again into the national team from TUT. What is it that she's bringing into the national team that you felt that she needs to be included again into this match of games? I just want to hear your views around that.
Thank you so much. Des?
It's not just her, Robert. It's also Ntando Patla. Got very little game time out in Jamaica. Very short camp. So obviously I wanted to have a look at them again, especially Sibongeli, because she didn't get a lot of game time at the COSAFA. So you want to make sure that you give the players an opportunity to make sure that they can show you what they're capable of doing, because you see them in the club environment, but you also want to see them in a different environment, and if they can step up and if they can add value to the national team. So we don't forget about players. Let me go back to a player that we've called up, Yomalila Jacobs. She's now at TS Galaxy, but in 2023 I did a roadshow in the Eastern Cape, and she was playing for a club called Volcano FC in the Sasa League, and I remembered her from then. And I've never ever lost track of her. So when people think that they're never going to get a call up, they must just be ready for the call up, because we don't forget about players.
I love that. I think the name says it all. If you're a volcano, at some point you have to erupt. Desiree, thank you so much and good luck. Good luck for the international games. We'll be tracking them as always here on #MSW. Appreciate it and good luck.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Dr. Desiree Ellis, the Banyana Banyana coach, giving us the latest update with regard to the national team. Two very exciting international friendly matches that are coming up, playing against Lesotho, with so much more, though, at stake for them to play for. Now, as I said yesterday, the countdown is definitely on. It's 490 days until the groundbreaking FIFA World Cup 26.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
So why should I use We Buy Cars if I want to sell my vehicle?
Because We Buy Cars buys cars.
But will I get the right price?
Of course. We Buy Cars buys thousands of vehicles and knows exactly what every vehicle is worth. Their buyers deliver exceptional service and pay you immediately.
And how do I know what they'll pay for my vehicle?
It's easy. Visit webuycars.co.za or use the We Buy Cars app. Follow the simple steps and voila, you'll get a fantastic price for your car. We Buy Cars. Quick, easy, the best.
The holidays are over, but the fun has just begun with the Back to Site promotion powered by Chamberlain. Join us from 23 January to 2nd March and get ready to go, go, go with unbeatable deals on rugged siteware, a massive range of power tools and all your building materials to make your project shine. Buy any promotional product in-store and stand a chance to win your share of 54,000 Rand. So if it's your first project of the year, Chamberlain has your back. Let's power up and make it happen. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
Your pet is your biggest fan and the sidekick to your daily adventures. Plus, they're always excited to see you. So protect your number one with .sure.co.za as SA's number one pet insurer, as voted by various Media 24 publications since 2020. We understand that when it comes to your fur family, they deserve only the best. Visit .sure.co.za for a quick online quote today. .sure Limited is a licensed non-life insurer and authorized financial services provider. FSP 39925.
You're not ordinary, right? So why not bet with the extraordinary? Bet on Lotto Star. Lotto Star offers world-renowned lotteries, quick games, real-world slot games, scratch card games, and live games. You could win payouts of up to 75 million Rand instantly. Bet now on lottostar.co.za. Your world of live games awaits. Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Tired of searching for love in the wrong places? Looking for someone to share your nuggets? To give you their very last fry? Well, this Valentine's Day, McDonald's is making happy happen by turning their app into a dating app where couples are matched based on their favorite meal. Those lucky few who are matched will be treated to a 5-star first date on Valentine's Day. To get in on all this excitement, just download the McDonald's app and enter your details as well as your meal preferences. T's and C's apply.
At Pick n Pay hypermarkets, the biggest low price sale is back. It's Hypermania. Get 300ml Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar or Zero, Fanta Orange, Sprite Lemon Lime or Stony Ginger Beer, any 3 6-packs for only 100 Rand. 1.5 kilogram McCain Skinny Fries or Slap Chips, any 2 for only 100 Rand. And bulk beef tenderized steak for only 89 Rand 99 per kilogram. Only at Pick n Pay hypermarkets. Valid 4 to 9 February. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
SAFA Johannesburg president, ladies and gentlemen, Phil Mokhodi, also got a message a short while ago coming through from Il Professori himself. That's Professor Palacios. He says, my greetings to Phil. Great leadership and football development in Johannesburg. My salute to him.
I just appointed him after he left Pirates as a technical director for Johannesburg football. You know, when I was running the Manchester Premier Cup, the other thing I shared with him is that in South Africa, we rush to do courses, Robert. D license, C license, whatever. There they start with a workshop. They prepare you for a coach so that they can check if they are going to produce a good coach instead of having papers. I can tell you most of the coaches that have done D license, C license, those certificates are under the mattress. They're not coaching.
We're here in South Africa.
Yes.
#MSW. #MSW.
It's exactly 25 minutes after the hour. It is hashtag MSW Marawa Sports Worldwide, live on the YouTube channel as well. Now, if you've ever heard of a sport called Padel, and we'll get to the pronunciation in just a second. So maybe if you're in the UK and you're saying, no, that's not how you pronounce it, or if you're in the US and you're saying, no, what's he saying? We'll get to that in a second. Well, if you haven't heard about it, though, I suspect you may just be living under a rock because, over 30 million Padel players are there worldwide. I mean, the sport is experiencing unprecedented growth and popularity. This particular expansion as well is significant. It is significant given that the sport was only invented in 1969. It was a husband and wife duo. I suppose out somewhere. It might have been, in the month of love like we are in February. It might have been a Valentine's outing or something. They were just alleviating boredom, as they say. As always, try and remind people that you must never, ever underestimate a simple romantic gesture of, hey, honey, how about, we try this little cool game? Look at where it is right now. Richard Ashford, as well, has been honored as South Africa's 2024 Men's Padel Player of the Year. Mane Roos receiving the title of South Africa's Best Women's Padel Player for 2024. The high level of engagement, though, with the sport in South Africa was also demonstrated by the impressive total of 20,000 votes that were cast, especially considering Padel's relatively recent introduction into the country. The poll was conducted over a 4-day period during the New Year week. Now, this evening, we are joined by Zahid Garda, the chief editor of the Padel News Network, who will provide insights into this rapidly growing sport. I'm excited. Zahid, as I welcome you, I hope you're excited as well. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Robert. Thank you so much for having me. And now I'm so grateful that I'm on the show to talk about something that's I'm very passionate about.
I drive literally left, right, and center in Durban. I see the courts all over the place. I do the same in Johannesburg. I see all over the place courts they've mushroomed. I can say out of nowhere, but they're there. They look great. The setup looks very, very professional. Were we ever ready for an expansion and a growth like this?
I think it surprises me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I started playing in 2022, around August or so. And the expansion has just been crazy since then. You go to the same courts you've been to previously. There were 4 courts. Now there's 8 courts. Some of them covered. So I don't know if anyone could have foreseen the type of growth, but it's supply and demand, right? So, people get on the court, they love it, they stay, they call their friends, their wives. Because this is the type of game where it's for men and women, it's inclusive, and kids, grandparents playing together. So, that's why we go from 4 courts to 8 courts at a facility, and probably around 300 to 400 courts in the country.
But what do you think has contributed, though, to the growth? Is it more like a lifestyle thing? Because sometimes you see people posting on social media as if they are playing tennis. So it's great for the gram, but they have no idea what they're doing there on the court. But it's great, though, for the optics, and it looks great otherwise. But would you attribute it, other than social media, to its real growth, to the people that really participate?
Yeah, look, it's very difficult to pin it on one thing.
Yeah.
I would say one of the reasons the uptake is quite easy. So the barriers to entry, tennis has quite a bit of technical things you need to learn before you get on the court. So the barriers to entry for the sport is quite low in that sense. You can hire rackets, you can get to the court. It's easy to find players because of apps like Playtomic, for example. So to set up a game and that type of thing is pretty easy. Now, obviously, once you're on the court, then that's where the actual bug, bites, because, someone can play today and never come back to the court. But, of course, this is not happening, right? People are playing and then they're setting up the same game for the following weekend. And, it's a game that I think people just take to.
A lot of people have also said, and this is where we have somebody like you as an expert who knows a lot about the sport and its direction, is it an expensive sport?
Expensive in terms of
just
expensive
in terms of cost, and maybe even in terms of being part of a group of players or membership or however it is done. A lot of people have said they would love to, but it's a bit costly. So I'm not sure which element is the costly part.
Well, I would say it is among it is a costly sport. Let's start off there. But there are ways to save. So you do get certain clubs and there's communities around that where there's certain times where you play where you can get discounts. There's certain there's like wallet discounts, like vouchers you could call it, where you could purchase that, and that basically could like half the price you pay for games and that type of thing. Look, I mean, there's a range, right? So you can get people who change their rackets every time they lose a match. And then you, of course, get players who, get onto the court, they rent a couple of times, they see if they like the game before they want to, spend more on the game. And then, so basically, I would say budget-wise, a lot of people play like once a week, and pricing-wise ranges from about maybe, if you're playing during peak times, about 150 to about 220. That's an indoor facility, which has popped out quite a lot now recently.
Yeah, but which one is the better one though? Because it's that kind of spectator sport. I know that at times it takes the shape of what we would call squash because of the rules and the ball bouncing off the wall. Then you continue with the play and you use that to your advantage. I mean, it is a strategic sport. You have to be smart. You need to know what you're doing, but it's also a fun element. But those outdoor courts, for me, they're the best, or they're more harder to maintain. What are the logistics?
Yeah, so in terms of my preference, I mean, of course, this is just a preference, right? I prefer outdoors because of the air. You get fresh air, and then obviously, if you're playing at places that have like greenery around it, like like the Zoo Lake as an example, it's beautiful. So the court with the carpet looks fantastic, and then you get the amazing surroundings, the environment around it. Then you of course get other players, I mean, because you're part of the same community who they just want to play indoor because you get like a consistent ball that comes through. It's not affected by things that can blame, like the wind, perhaps. But I mean, in terms of maintaining it and from the business perspective, which might be a bit different, of course, if there's rain and the courts are like basically waterlogged, then of course the indoor makes more at times financial sense.
Are we able to track though? I mentioned, so many 30 million people worldwide have taken to the sport. In South Africa, are we able to track the growth? Are we able to put that into numbers? I think in the UK, they've got over 350 courts that are just strewn around, and people are, rapidly growing in that space. Are we able to pinpoint in that direction?
So basically, it's difficult to pinpoint exact numbers right now. But I mean, we could look at it from the perspective. There's about 300 to 400 courts at the moment. I've heard. This is just anecdotal, right? So there's about like 20,000 players, and that comes from clubs, obviously. So when people book, most people use an app called Playtomic, and that makes it easy because you can basically have games with other players that you don't even know that are on a similar ranking level to you. And why people also like that is because they assigned a certain ranking to you, so it becomes competitive in that sense. So yeah, I think the numbers. The 20,000 figures that I've been hearing might be how many players are on the app booking games in the country at the moment, and it's growing.
It's got to grow. It has to grow because I think it might have taken time, and I don't know where the delay was. Maybe you've found out. I mentioned 1969 when it was eventually discovered by this wonderful pair, and for it to reach South Africa. It was in recent years. I mean, I don't remember going around the country and just seeing something growing and mushrooming as we've seen with Padel. Do we put a date to it? I know we were late comers into joining the worldwide trend.
Sure, I think probably around 2021 or so.
21.
I knew about it in 2022, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're that late because I mean, in terms of like Europe, Spain, Italy, and countries like that, yes, okay, we're late on in the European level, but the US it's only starting to boom now. It's like it's still getting there because they're still busy playing pickleball, and Padel is only starting to get its growth in the last year or two.
But also a wide celebrity feature around them. You find your David Beckhams, they talk a lot about them. I see even on your Twitter page as well, you showcased Neymar. You even made the comparison between what Haaland earns in a week versus what one of the top players earn in the entire year. So those are the kind of comparisons, though, because people like to follow trends. And if it's cool for Beckham, then it must be cool for me.
So, for some reason, footballers take to paddle. I don't know what it is. I love football and I love paddle. I don't know what it is. So there definitely is something that's bridging a bridge between the two. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I mean, there's every player you can possibly think of.
Yeah.
That's like Ronaldo has a paddle court at home, so he's posted a photo with his favorite journalist, Piers Morgan, and and basically offered to play with him paddle. And so I mean, this is across the board. We've seen this, in the UK and in Argentina, and footballers for some reason more than I could say than other sports. I don't know why, but they're just taking to paddle, and yeah, I mean, through the social media, like you're saying now, it's quite trendy in that sense. So they are posting about it, and I think that's what a lot of people are latching onto to say, let me give this thing that you're doing a go.
Well, it certainly worked, and just part of the research in the week, coming across the fact that there's a former Paris Saint-Germain and Newcastle United forward, Hatem Ben Hafa. I mean, he's also taken to paddle, as you describe, with a great deal of passion, and he's a one-time Man United enthusiast. I mean, he is reportedly ranked 997th in France. That was last year.
Yep.
He's competed in something like 70 tournaments during the year 2023. So you're absolutely right. Maybe there's something about individuals who are ball players taking to, because you'll find a lot of camps and training camps for football. There's a lot of table tennis tables that are out there just for them to, in between the hard training, they go back into something that focuses the attention on a sport. And it looks like now it is Padel.
Well, one of the reasons is, I would say that when a player's football career ends, like say Hatem Ben Arfa, for example, he's still, I would say, young enough to be competitive in this sport, right? So this might blow your mind, but Arjen Robben is 377th ranked in the Netherlands. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely, if you look at like the footballers can compete at that level, and that's also what they've only taken up this sport in recent years. So it's not like whereas other paddle players have been playing for like 10, 15 years, they're playing catch up in like 2-3 years, right? So they've got the athleticism, clearly, hand-eye coordination, that type of thing. And yeah, I mean, they're definitely doing wonders. I mean, if you look at the two we just mentioned now.
I mentioned as well Richard Ashworth, I mentioned Monet Ruiz. Those are the best players, men and women, in South Africa currently. Tell me about the voting, though, because that blew my mind. I was like, for a sport like this, and you put it out there, and over 20,000, it might be more, correct me on that one, but over 20,000 people within the space of just a week, putting forward their vote for who is the best player. Walk me through that process, because it just seemed exciting. It seemed unbelievable.
Okay, so paddle's a team sport. So it's usually played in pairs, and you'd go to it's a type of off-court conversation you'd have. Who's the best player in the country, right? And it's not definitive because there wasn't an award before that. So initially on the page, because we do have a large audience that also comes from Spain and Argentina, initially we were thinking, let's have an awards for the international players, because we know the two best players are Arturo Coelho and Agustin Tapia, but who's the best, right, between the two or whatever, just let's have a vote for that. And then we said, okay, but let's first focus on South Africa and get voting done through the same idea that we were thinking, but just do it for locally first. And once we started putting it out, I mean, we didn't expect the type of traction, of course, that we had. The nominations started coming through, so that's how it began. We asked people to nominate for who's the best players, men and women, and then we eventually came up with a list of 16, the top 16. And then we had, which was quite cool, I would say, a way to vote where through like a knockout, basically. We had exactly. So we had the top 16, then it goes to quarterfinals, then semifinals, and then the top two meet in the finals. So the initial voting was done, then seeds were created to make each side, and basically then it went to the winners, like you said, Richard Ashworth and Monet Ruiz.
Well, and congratulations to them if they are listening. And I know that Richard does double up as well as a player and a coach at the Racket and Ball here at Melrose Arch. So great work. I think it's keeping everybody busy. We'll come back after the break. We continue our conversation. Zaid Gada is my guest. Any questions, guys? 011-883-947. Otherwise, send us a WhatsApp voice note, 060-708-0484. Is that correct pronunciation? Are you Padel or Paddle?
I say Paddle.
Hashtag MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW.
Fly high with data-free games from Hollywood Bets, where no data is required to play great games like Aviator and Shooting Star. You can also bet on all sports with no data. Just log on to datafree.hollywoodbets.net and you're off. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Hey Siri, where can we turn up?
Searching. Are you looking for the biggest party of 2025? Here's the tea. The Mahindra Fusion Fest on 22 February at Sunbet Arena, Pretoria is where it's at.
Mikasa, KO, Matthew Mole, Sifa Hot Sticks, Casper Nyovest, Young Stunners, Java, Gabumpela, and more come together in a never-seen-before fusion.
But wait, there's also fashion and art, and you could win a Mahindra XUV3 XO.
Get your tickets today at Ticket Pro. Mahindra Fusion Fest. Celebrate the fusion. Discover the X.
Skipping a red robot is a no. Eyeball! So is taking a short left on your insurance premium payment. A wise move is paying your monthly premiums to enjoy having uninterrupted car and home insurance cover. Make the wise move to iWise today for reliable car and home insurance. For a quote, visit iWise.co.za. iWise is underwritten by Old Mutual Insure Limited, a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Simplify your 2025 at Checkers and save with over 1,500 deals every week. Like Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Cold Drink 2 litre, 2 for 47 Rand. Typec A4 photocopy paper 80 GSM, 500 sheets for 69.99. And Lancewood Cheddar or Gouda cheese, 900 grams for 129.99. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper or shop on 6060.
Want to save on your next local holiday? Lekker offers amazing deals on local accommodation all year round. From self-catering getaways to luxury stays and everything in between, Lekker has something for every budget. Don't miss out on Lekker amazing year-round accommodation offers all over South Africa. Download the Lekker app today and discover how easy it is to book an affordable holiday. Lekker, always save on the best local stays.
At e-family meetings, drama is always on the menu. From your cousin sending the wrong pic in the family group chat, to Tsepo dodging dishes yet again, and of course, the classic who's cooking next debate. Don't stress, Panarotis has you covered with the classic Monsterito pizza. At almost half a meter wide, it's big enough to share with the family while they tackle all the drama. Get yours for just $199.90, exclusive to rewards members. Panarotis, big on family, big on pizza.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Safa Johannesburg president, ladies and gentlemen, Phil Mokhodi. How's the jet lag?
No, there's no jet lag, man.
You're used to these things,
yeah? You know, when your kidneys are good, your minds are good.
Sure. The benefits of flying first class is unbelievable.
I don't do that. I stay sit there in the economy so that you interact with people.
You sit in the economy?
Yeah.
Can I verify the ticket?
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, we'll find other things there if we have to verify that ticket.
Good life. It feel like Atlanta. It feel like LA. It feel like Miami. It feel like NY. Summer.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Exactly 60 minutes to the hour. It is hashtag MSW Marawa Sports Worldwide. Talking about a worldwide phenomenon, though. We're talking about Padel. It's a sport that you, the next door neighbor, everybody else seems to be playing these days. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call or send a WhatsApp voice note on 060 708 0484. Otherwise, 011 8838 947. And if you're wondering who my guest is and you joined us a little bit late, well, you're not too late to be a participant here as well. We've got the chief editor of the Padel News Network. That's Zahid Gada, who is my guest. As we're going into the break, though, we're chatting about the first Padel Awards South Africa for Best Male and Female Player. You also run the news network. The growth of that as well. Do you find that within a social media space, people are engaging more, looking for news, not just about South Africa, but on the international front?
That's actually one of the surprising things, because we initially started it with the idea to have a sort of information space hub for local news and events, tournaments, those type of things. Eventually, we started putting out, different things about rules, coaching, points, what's allowed, what's not allowed. And then we started getting questions and interactions from other countries. And then all of a sudden, we sort of become a space now where we cater for South African and international communication, because it's basically, you would say this is a Spanish market, right? So when we started posting these things out, people were like, okay, we didn't know that, because when Arturo Coyo, won, that was posted in Spanish, right? So there was a lot that wasn't catered for. It's almost like basically if this new sport called football was to start, right? And only, say, Brazil was talking about it, and it's and like 90% of the information's in Portuguese. So when you start talking about, some of the international events and things of interest within that community, and you're putting in a language where quite a number of countries speak that are now starting to take on the game, then that audience basically gravitates towards you. So I think that's where we're at.
Is that because of the discovery of the sport in Mexico that it still really has its roots and tentacles there?
Look, I don't know exactly how it went from Mexico to being the hub now in Spain, because, the best players are there. To me, it looks like Spain is now actually become the hub of the game. There's more paddle tennis courts in Spain. They have Rafael Nadal in tennis, right? But there's more paddle tennis courts in Spain than actually tennis. So, So look, maybe the Spanish language had something to. I actually don't know how it grew into Spain, into Italy, and that way there first before it went into English-speaking countries.
Yeah, because the history tells us though that Prince Alfonso is the one in 1974 who took it across, to Spain and Marbella, and it really grew and expanded from there. Questions that are coming through, let's take them.
Good evening, Big Rob, and evening to your guest, Mr. Zaid Gada. Mr. Zaid Gada, in terms of making it a career in Padel, what are the possibilities? And secondly, have you ever had a conversation with Minister Gayton Mackenzie? Because he's one minister who's willing to listen to even the niche sports that we have in the country. So have you had a conversation with him, and what was the outcome if there was a conversation? Thank you, Mr. Marawa.
Thank you very much indeed. A great question, Zaid.
Okay, so I haven't had a conversation with the minister as yet, but perhaps that's something that should be done. So the other question, of course, was can this be made into a career? I would say yes, but there is a bit of difficulty at the moment. Look, it's quite a new sport. So the players that are playing at the moment at the highest levels, many of them are also doubling up as coaches, like you mentioned earlier. And so that's one route into making it a career. As the game basically gets bigger and more money gets pumped in by advertisers because there's more eyeballs on the sport and there's more people playing the sport, then at some point, yes, the switch will make. And obviously players on the international circuit, the players on that circuit there does, do of course make a career out of it. But we are talking, 50, we were probably talking about 100 players, in the men's circuit and maybe 100 in the female circuit worldwide. So you'd have to make it into that level there. And I think tennis is actually the same. As big as tennis is, pretty much the same. The top 200 make money, and outside of that, they have to double up as a coach.
Yes, I suppose doubling up is one of the things, and the visibility is probably what the voice note was indicating towards, to say if the minister gets involved and highlights the importance. I mean, we always talk about facilities and how run down a lot of the facilities are, that if there's a different option and a different gateway for people to get into an active sport and to lull them out of the streets and get them active again, maybe this is it. You move it from a social gathering to something very competitive.
Yeah, so look, there is obviously the recreational side, and there's the competitive side, right? What we would love is for the minister to get on the phone calls to Premier Padel. And I mean, how do you get the interest here, right? You bring the pros here, you bring the best in the world here, like we had the FIFA World Cup and that type of thing. So you get Premier Padel. There's a leg in Egypt. Why isn't there a leg here? Let's get that here.
But why do you think that's the case, though? Because I know that somebody like Richard has represented South Africa, but he's done it on the global A1 paddle circuit as well. So what's stopping us? Like you say, if it's already on the continent up north in Egypt, surely.
So the A1 has been in South Africa, but not yet Premier Padel. So they are actually competing circuits, but the Premier Padel is actually they basically took over what is the biggest tour, the World Padel Tour. Funny enough, we talked of football earlier. Nasser Al Khelaifi, the Qatar head, PSG boss, he's the boss of Premier Padel. So they go and buy World Padel Tour. And basically make it the biggest tour in the world. And that happened last year. So that is the first season. The second season starts now in Monday, and we should be bidding for a leg in the next.
And how often does it happen? Because I mean, rugby happens on a 4-year cycle with World Cups. The same with football, etc. For the Premier Padel, what circuit or what cycle does it revolve around or evolve?
So the Premier Padel basically has about 22, 24 or so legs throughout the season, and that's every season, right? So every year basically. There is a world championship as well, and we in fact had two of the players who won the World Cup last year with Argentina. A week after winning the World Cup, they were playing paddle at Killarney Country Club in a tournament here, and the two of them won it. So, well, obviously, right?
My goodness. demanding schedule as well. So Premier Padel is what we are aiming for,
yes,
as South Africa. What about eyeballs, though? Because a lot of these sports, and for money to be pumped in, we always say that they need visibility. They need to be seen on television. Sky Sports News, for example, they give airtime even to dog racing. They give airtime, a lot of it, to darts and table tennis and so on. Surely paddles at that level now?
Yes, well, with dog racing, I think it probably is at that level now, right?
Yeah.
But I think as people start to play it, so I think the evolution is from I try this game out, I play this game out, oh, I really like this game, how do I get better? Or let me watch some of the pros, and then you become a follower of the actual game, right? So I think that is starting to happen. Obviously, it's not huge numbers at this point in time. The Premier Padel, as we discussed earlier, that's not shown in any of our big, media corporations. YouTube has, up until like the early rounds, and then Red Bull TV, funny enough, carries on with it. So I mean, that's an opportunity for anyone to grab, I would say.
The television rights.
That's it.
And obviously they would go through a process of a recce and see where they can set up their cameras, because these days you need to shoot things pretty HD. We've seen how even tennis, even WTA or even the Lawn Tennis Association, I picked up the fact that they were describing paddle as the fastest growing sport in the world, an innovative form of tennis as well. So when you have that and you see how tennis these days is being broadcast, if it's one of those night games and how they dim the lights and make it all a big hoorah session for the fan experience, but also a fan experience of the people that are watching it on television, we would need to do that. If you had a wish list, where would you like to see paddle sitting? On which platform in South Africa?
Do you mean which television?
Yeah, which station?
All over. Yeah, of course. I mean, the accessibility it shouldn't just be accessible to a certain audience. It should be accessible to everybody. You want to grow this. You want as many people, to see this, and then the numbers will tell, right? Are people continuing to watch it or not? So, we do get that. If you look at the numbers over on YouTube, but of course, that's just a small segment who has access to that.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, the whole issue of accessibility is a problem, free to air versus what you have to pay versus what you see on the internet as well. All right, give me a second. We're back as well. As I said, we're talking all things to do with Padel. Zaid Garda, Chief Editor of the Padel News Network.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
An important conversation that we're having here with the SAFA Johannesburg President, Phil Mokhodi.
You see, our football, Italian, they just elected a president for new. In South Africa, people go to all the corners and canvass. Why do you canvass to become a leader? When within football, you know the strength of each individual. Because the leadership, you need to have a system within the leadership and pass the baton. One element that we need to fix in this country, Robert, is the relationship between PSL and SAFA.
But why is it this strained for so long?
Did you need gentlemen that sit and talks football and blend and whatever, not gossip and whatever, because in our current system now, there's too much gossip. That's why you'll hear that somebody's talking about this, someone goes to the president, don't trust this one.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Love the conversations, man. Love what I'm hearing. I love the interest that people are showing as well on the social media platforms, saying that, yeah, we go out. My aunt and my nephews and everybody else goes and plays paddle every weekend. That is a story. Those are the kind of stories that we want to hear, and we're just trying to find out if the route to growth can even be so much greater. The recognition as well from within the sports ministry. Saw a glimpse of the minister there just making his way into the State of the Nation address that is happening in all but 3 minutes from now. Also just talking about, certain things. Be on the lookout, because I can tell you right now that there will be an important press conference being held tomorrow. This is on something completely different now. We do believe that there will be drastic action that will be announced at that press conference to do with a certain team that has been in conversation on the show for many, many weeks now. And I think a lot of people have been very frustrated about there being a lack of information, lack of communication about what is going on behind the scenes. And we do believe right here on MSW that there will be a big announcement that will be made tomorrow. But right now, as we wrap up our conversation with Zaid Garda, Zaid, just your wish list now. We've seen the paddle communities growing larger and larger each and every day. For you, as somebody who is in the forefront of the sport and the visibility of the sport, what's your dream? What's your wish? It's a good time to make those right now. It's February, it's early in the new year for the rest of the year and beyond.
My wish is pretty simple. We've spoken about the pro level. The pro level, of course, the wish is to have at least a pair or some of our players at the highest level, which is Premier Padel. It's going to happen. Someone's going to do it, right? I don't know. Maybe it's the current players. Maybe it's the current best in the country. Maybe not. Maybe it's a 16-year-old, 15-year-old that's listening to the show right now, and
inspired.
They're going to be inspired. And they're going to be the first ones to do. So that's on a wish list. And then on the recreational level, it's just for people to give the sport a try. We often talk to each other after, and we're like, what were we even doing before we started playing paddle? And when you take me up on the game of paddle, you're going to see it's going to be the same.
I was invited during the ad break, and I said I will take it up. I have no clue, really, and I will learn as we go along. We will have video evidence to go along with that. I'll make my mistakes. I've accepted. But the bottom line is that I'm putting it out there that I will take you up on that offer. Whichever court it is, I will pitch up and I'll have a game with you.
Appreciate that. I look forward to that.
But don't give me too many individuals that are too good. They're going to thrash me from here to,
I'll be on the court. Don't even ask what's my level, though.
You know way more than me. I'll literally be starting from scratch.
I mean, that's the beauty of the game, though.
Yeah.
A person starting from scratch within 15 to 20 minutes, learn the rules, hit around a bit, you can actually have a game. That's actually what keeps people coming back, because you're in. You can actually have a scoring game,
Yeah.
the same scoring system as tennis, after 15 minutes of just understanding how to play it.
All right. I look forward to that. Chief Editor of the Padel News Network. You can follow them on social media. They are out there on Instagram, also on Twitter or X. It's a growing community. We made an undertaking as a team that we saw the number of followers you have on Twitter, and we said by the end of today, we're going to make sure you get to double figures. I am going to follow you the minute I say goodbye to you. So that is how we're growing that sector of support.
Appreciate that so much, and this was a fantastic conversation, and I hope your
I
audience
loved it.
enjoyed it too.
No, they certainly did. Some always very, very shy to call through. So, yeah, but I do track it on the social media platforms. You can catch Marawa Sports Worldwide again tomorrow. Proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. Hashtag MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW.